Hi, I'm Dave Warzel, and you're watching PHTV4. This is Behind the Scenes. And Behind the Scenes today is getting a chance to meet with our city treasurer for Palos Heights, Jim Daemicke. Jim, thank you for being here today. And maybe behind the scenes isn't actually quite right, because I think if anybody watches a city council meeting, you're in that frame at least half the time.
That's right.
You're sitting at that table with our clerk and the mayor and the lawyer. But thank you for coming in a little bit, and it gives us a chance to talk about, like, what is the city treasurer's role, managing the budget, even though the day-to-day operations are probably somewhere else, I would guess, right?
Yep.
So as we get started here, and before we talk about your role as city treasurer, how about just your background first? Because you are an
Sure.
accountant, a tax accountant.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I grew up in Palos Heights. I went through the Palos school system, Palos East, Palos South, and ended up at Brother Rice and then on to Loyola. So Palos Heights was always near and dear to me, and my family has a business that started in the early 1960s. Really started as an insurance business and then evolved and moved over more to accounting and tax in particular. So after I graduated Loyola, I got my CPA and came back home in 2008 to join the family business, and been enjoying it ever since.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, because obviously, you're doing a great service for the city along with that. I mean, that sounds like a full plate to me. So to acknowledge, you work with Daemicke Financial Group, right? The
Yep.
family name there.
Yes.
And in addition to that, city treasurer. So how about, can you talk about what is the role of city treasurer? Because we have a mayor, we have a city administrator, we have many offices, and things are divided up. What's your role in managing city
Sure.
funds?
Yeah, so the biggest responsibility is to safeguard the assets of the city, and I'm elected by the taxpayers, and that's the main job. Is whatever we've collected as a city, it needs to be invested responsibly, safely, and making sure we get some sort of return on it while it's sitting there to be used for other items. So the main thing is we have CDs, we have an investment policy, and then we have options for how to invest the money. Jan Colvin from the city does an excellent job of getting the bids from the local banks, and then we review them and we say, okay, where do we think the rates are going? What makes sense for the city? We want to make sure we're not all in one bank. We want to make sure anything we invest, we collateralize, which means the bank has to they actually have to pledge the funds and set them aside. So it's just an extra layer of safety for us. So that's probably the most important job, is really just trying to maximize where we think the rates are going and trying to get as much as we can out of the money that is sitting there in our reserve.
So you've been doing the job since 2017. So you've been here for a while. You've managed the funds, and thinking about when you stepped into the role, and then over the last, as a citizen myself, right, and I'm sure community's interested, how are the city finances, and how are those investments doing?
Right. So the rates have come down from when we started, but really since 2017, we went through COVID, and we're really always reacting to what the state and county are doing, because we do rely on them for funds. So the cash reserve we have, I mean, we're in excellent shape now. You talk to the older aldermen and you talk to Mayor Strauss, that wasn't always the case. And the biggest thing right now is protecting that and making sure we never go back to the point where the finances aren't in the green.
Right.
And having a reserve gives you this flexibility to make good decisions rather than react. And I think that's the key. We're always going to have times where the county delays our payments, or the most recent one was the governor took away a grocery tax.
Right, I remember.
And so we rely on those funds. We're not a huge retail area, so we're not comparable to Crestwood or Orland. We don't have as much coming in on the sales tax side. So having the reserve allows us to be flexible, meet our future obligations, and make good decisions rather than
You know, it's an interesting point you make, to be able to make a good decision, not like a panicked or a, you know, dealing with a crisis type situation, you know. Which I'm going to ask, because when I think about like the importance of managing those funds, maintaining the financial health of the city, I'm sure you're always kind of looking as far as you can into the future. I mean, you don't have a crystal ball, but are there financial concerns that the city is going to have to deal with over the next several years? I mean, are you able to speak to that at all?
Yeah, I think, you know, the big one that everyone faces is we do have a police pension liability, and we've done an excellent job of paying that down and getting to a spot where we're 68% funded, which doesn't sound great, but you know, a lot of people are in the 40s and the 50s, and we just need to keep our eye on that number and continue to pay that off over the next 10 to 15 years, so that we get out of this always playing catch up. And so that liability is at about 17 million right now. So that's a big one. It's a commitment from the city to, you know, we have the best police force, I think, on the south side, and it's a commitment we've made to them over the years. And it's a big number, though.
Yeah, it is.
We have to make sure we're doing that. We're getting some casino money from the new casino in East Hazel Crest. And so we have to either spend that on capital improvements, or we can spend it on paying down the police pension. So
it can only be used for certain things. Okay.
So that's in my mind of, let's continue to chip away at this and get us even further along.
Is there a percent you have in mind where you'd like to see the pension at?
Well, there's state mandates to get them to 95%, and we're well on our way. So just continuing the pain of getting caught up on that. We also have, if you watch any of the city meetings or read the minutes, we do have a water infrastructure that it needs a lot of work.
It's aging, right?
It's aging, yeah. So they're not meant to be 60 years, not meant to last that long. So we have a significant amount of water improvements that we have to do over the next, we're already doing them, but we have to do it over the next 8 to 10 years. Again, it's not always predictable. You don't always know what's in front of you, and that's why the cash reserve will help us make decisions from the best point of view. But
well, I think about and we know other cities or municipalities that have had horrible water situations that they've had to deal with, you know, whether it's a breakdown in infrastructure or lead in the water kind of thing, or contaminants. No, I mean, it's nice that the city is able to plan going forward like that. Are there any other issues out there? Because I have another question I want to throw at you.
Yeah, no, I think the Harlem Avenue is going to be a long-term, that's going to be something we just have to get right. And we have now the funding in place to make improvements to Harlem. But I think when you talk to residents, that's the first thing that comes to mind, is what are we going to do about Harlem Avenue? And at least now we have a mechanism for getting visible, tangible improvements to that area.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've lived in Palos for a long time. I think we all, maybe not all of us, many of us envision that small town with a real nice pedestrian, you know, area in front of the businesses, and you know, accessible storefronts. Those parking lots can be difficult to navigate. The sidewalks are trouble. You know, aesthetically, it definitely could use a little bit of help, I think.
And I think that's the balance of, you've been around Palos for a long time. You know that we have the small town feel.
Yes, very much.
Maintaining that charm and not just changing to change. And trying to.
We don't want strip mall front down the road. Absolutely, yeah. Maybe it's related to what we're talking about. I'm thinking about, you have a full-time job and you do this. I mean, what is a year like for you? Or even is there a typical day for you? Are there crunch times for you? And having done it for so many years now, you probably can manage it. You see it coming. You know, what does a typical day look like for you balancing these two?
Yeah. So, you know, the morning starts with emails, seeing if there's any fires to put out. My office is so close to City Hall, though, that it really does give me the flexibility to prioritize the day. And if something comes up at City Hall, I'm able to get over there quickly. the biggest things for the city, we have every 2 weeks we're doing vendor checks, so I'm signing all those and making sure it's a level of control where we can verify that the invoice matches the check and the proper department has signed for it. So a lot of times I'll run over there in the afternoon or at night, and it's just, I love what I'm doing, and I like the ability to jump between the two. And the city has an excellent staff of accountants, in the front office that really do a lot of the day-to-day.
Right.
So I'm looking more at how are we doing compared to our budget and more big picture.
Okay. All right. Well, I was say to be able to work with good people certainly makes a job much better. All right. Those are all the softball questions. You ready for the real questions
yeah,
now?
Sure.
All right. How about the first one here? For when you were little in grade school, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, that's a good one. I played.
Why you say that you were 6 years old, you knew you wanted to be an accountant?
No, I did take to it early, but I played PBO, so I was on the baseball fields. I'm sure there were years where I dreamed of being a baseball player.
You were the guy, huh?
Yeah, and then I for a while I looked at being an attorney. I had some family members in the practice, but accounting always made sense to me, and it was always just something that I gravitated towards.
Do you like the math numbers part of it? Is that?
Yeah, I like the problem solving more.
Oh, okay.
But the math it's natural to me how it works, so it was a good fit.
How about this? And I think about, as a former teacher, I always wonder about things like this. If you were invited to speak at a career day in a high school, a group of students who are maybe thinking about a career somewhere related to what you're doing, what advice would you give a high school kid?
Well, I would say please do it. We're very short on accountants in general, but I think no matter where you land, if you can read financial statements, you're ahead of the game. And I think it's such a skill set to have, whether you land in marketing or even running your own business. It's just the ability to say, are we making money or not, and are we healthy on the balance sheet? It's just, it's a no-brainer.
All right. Well, good advice there for you. There is a need, all right,
Yes.
for high school kids. But let's be honest about it. If we're warning that kid, the need is there, the skill set you mentioned. What is the most challenging part of what you do, though? Is kind of like a heads up. These are the things that, this can be tough, this part.
Yeah, it's in stretches of the year, it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours, but I think the counter to that is you have a lot of flexibility. So it's very easy to make your own schedule outside of the crunch times.
Right.
The hardest part is really the unknown. The tax law is changing on the federal side. City of Palos Heights, same thing. We are playing within a set of rules that we really don't have control over.
Right.
So you really have to be processing them in real time and adjusting.
Yeah, and I could see where, like you're saying, losing the grocery tax, which might seem like such a minor thing. What was it, 1% or something? Yet that's a real dollar somewhere
For
that's
us.
being used to do something.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. How about, I'm hoping you get a chance to go on vacation. What do you do, or where do you go, or what do you do when you need to recharge?
Sure. This year has been a lot of sports-related trips.
Oh, you have kids at that age.
We have kids that have been we went to Omaha for baseball, we went to DC for Irish dance, and we just sort of Field of Dreams.
Oh, wow.
So this year has been a little different. We've been doing a lot of trips related to sports.
Okay. Quasi-vacation.
Yes, exactly. But in general, swimming with the kids. My two sons have taken up golf, so
Wow,
we'll sneak
wonderful.
off to Oak Hills anytime we can, and
Yeah.
that's about it, though. We just enjoyed.
Oh, what a great activity, though. You can play golf with your kids,
Yeah.
right? Basketball, football, some of those don't
I
work as
can't.
well.
That's right. That's right. I'm on the sidelines for those.
All right, how about, we're going to say that this is your dream job, being, working with Daemicke Financial Group and being city treasurer.
Yeah.
But if you couldn't have that dream job, what would the other dream job be?
I think, honestly,
You say
I've
baseball,
always
okay.
no, I've always had attraction to running a business, running a restaurant.
Oh, really?
My first job was at Dunlap's.
Oh,
So
wow.
I worked there for 5 years growing up, and it's definitely, it could be a stressful situation,
Oh,
but
for
just
sure.
interacting with your neighbors and
Yes.
providing that service. I just,
So managing a restaurant?
Yeah, owning
is there
a
a kind of
restaurant.
restaurant, do you think, or does it matter, just managing a restaurant?
any type of restaurant, yeah. I think
Okay.
I'm always drawn to like a good steak.
Okay.
You know, having that
Like
option.
the- okay, all right.
But-
And then a final question for you here. What do you like best about your job? What
I
do you
like-
enjoy or look forward to in the day about your job?
I love what I do, and having the ability to talk to local business owners, help them take a complex situation and let's put it into pieces and come up with an answer, and just helping them translate sometimes the financials. And I do that with both jobs. You know, that's really the best part of my day is let's figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, there's always an answer.
Well, this is, you mentioned earlier, you like the problem solving.
Yeah.
Here it is, right? And then you get to watch people, enjoy the success or the rewards of
grow
that
with
problem
them.
solving. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when you're in the community, right? Jim, thank you very much for coming in.
Oh, thanks for
Very
having me.
interesting. Nice meeting you in this way, all right? And I hope we get to see a city treasurer for quite a long time.
Thank
still.
you. I appreciate it.
I'm Dave Worzel. You've been watching PHTV4 Behind the Scenes. We've been talking with City Treasurer Jim Daemicke. Thank you for watching.